Food waste recycling is still a new idea for a lot of people, but it's growing fast. Our biggest competitor at the moment is still the trash can. So it's just so easy for individuals and businesses to throw all of their waste into one receptacle and just forget about it.
But Ben Parry, CEO of Compost Crew, wants people to be more mindful and think twice before simply throwing out their food scraps into a trash bin.
We want you to engage with your waste. We want to recover as much of the organic matter as possible so that we can do something productive with it.
From trash to treasure. In this case, food scraps to black gold.
Of all the food that we make, 60 to 70 million tons gets wasted. And about 3/4 of that ends up in the landfill, an incinerator, or down the drain in the sewer. So that's a whole lot of organic material that is essentially rotting into methane gas.
Compost Crew, a subscription-based food collection service in Rockville, recovers, recycles, and reuses compostable waste.
We have an opportunity to capture that organic material and recycle it into a commodity like compost.
This morning, the crew is making its weekly rounds in the town of Chevy Chase in Montgomery County. Their service spans throughout the Washington, D.C. region.
We have thousands of residential customers who subscribe to our services, so they pay us, just like they pay a trash or recycling service, they'll pay us to collect the food scraps from their homes.
In exchange for food scraps that would otherwise, literally, go to waste in the dumpster, this material will be processed into nutrient-rich compost and be put to good use.
Our residential customers are entitled to get compost back, so they give us their food scraps instead of throwing them into the trash can. We collect those food scraps, and then we do the processing of the food scraps into compost for them. And so, essentially, they're outsourcing the composting to us.
It's a collective collaboration between Compost Crew, their customers, and local farms. These food scraps make their way to 1 Acre Farm in Dickerson. Here on his 34-acre farm, Mike Protas grows a variety of vegetables. Today, all hands are on deck packing bags for their CSA members.
Today's share, we're doing cucumbers, cantaloupe, tomatoes, mini bell peppers, onions, sweet Carmen peppers. Now we do about 6 acres of vegetables and feed around 400 families a week throughout the year.
Planting, harvesting, packing, and managing daily tasks on the farm. This means working 7 days a week around the clock. 1 Acre Farm's partnership is a win-win situation for Compost Crew and Mike.
We partner with a farm like 1 Acre Farm, and we will build a modular turnkey composting system, and we're making compost.
That's one less chore for Mike.
I don't have to worry about compost anymore because they do the work for me.
And he doesn't have to go far to purchase fresh compost to spread in his fields.
They pay a rental to be on the property, they use the utilities, and in turn, I get compost made professionally as opposed to me making it, which would not be nearly as good.
Composting is a long and tedious job. Food scraps collected this morning from over 400 homes will take hours to process. First, the crew handpicks non-compostable items out of the pile.
Call it decontamination. So what we're doing here is just getting the food scraps out of the bags.
Next, the food waste is integrated with dry material, including wood chips and leaves. Simultaneously, water is added to the mix to help with decomposition and keeps the mixture's temperature regulated.
We mix the dry and wet material together to give the microorganisms the ideal environment that they need to do their work. And ultimately, the food scraps get broken down into a uniform product that we call compost.
Once the material has been thoroughly mixed, it's moved into these shipping containers. This stage is known as the hot or active phase, where decomposition speeds up and produces heat.
The reason why we have them in the bins is because we blow air through the bottom of the baseboards and up through the piles, and we call that forced aeration.
Holes are poked into the baseboard to allow air up through the bottom of the surface. Oxygen is pumped into the piles with the help of an electric blower.
When you force air through the piles, you don't have to turn them. That's big labor savings.
The material will remain in these bays until it's ready for the final stage. After 4 to 6 weeks, the compost is moved out for curing.
Curing phase is about 2 months.
The compost will sit here until it matures. The pile's temperature will decrease as it becomes dark brown and emits a natural earthy smell. It's an exciting morning at 1 Acre Farm. Today, residents who are subscribers of the Compost Crew collection service receive their share of what they had a hand in producing.
We actually tried composting at home at first, and it was too hard. We actually use compost in our garden, so this is great.
Now, Chris Brower can just focus on gardening and let Compost Crew do the heavy lifting. Thanks for watching Maryland Farm and Harvest. We hope you liked the video. Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos. To learn more about our show and watch full episodes, check out mpt.org/farm or just click the link in the description.